All right, guys, welcome back. Sticks and Stones Unfiltered. Today I got Chris Williams with us. He was my boss at the fire department we worked at. Good friend of mine. We actually we're both retired now, and we actually see each other quite a bit now that we're retired. Hanging out, just shooting the shit. So, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Well, we talked for quite a while before we fired up the recording.
Yeah. There was a couple of other guys in here, and that's one thing you can always say about getting a couple of the guys together. It's always going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Even at the worst stories ever, it'll still be a good time.
Yeah, the 5-minute conversation turns into an hour conversation. I think we were supposed to start over an hour ago.
Probably so, yeah.
That's all right. We got late night. Well.
Yeah.
So basically, where did you begin? Where's your story start? Where were you raised at, and how was that coming up?
I was born and raised in McAllister for the most part. I went to school in McAllister, and then in probably kindergarten, pre-K or so, my family moved to Oklahoma City, Shawnee, that area. My dad was an oil field guy, so he had to kind of chase around some jobs a little bit, and so we moved over there. But by the third grade, I was back in McAllister to stay. I didn't really get out of here after that until I became an adult, and then I had a previous wife that I moved to out of town with, and then from there I had seen that they needed help with the volunteer fire department, and I just kind of thought, I would want somebody to show up to my house, so let's just show up and see what it's about. Well, it was a lot of grass fires, brush fires, fixing stuff, working on different things, learning new terrains and area. There wasn't a whole lot to it back then. There was no qualifications. You just kind of,
that was super rural too.
Hey, we need
right?
another guy. Let's jump in the truck and go. Yeah, it was a town of probably around 100 people, and it served a pretty good area. A lot of mutual aid. A lot of mutual aid with some bigger departments, and that was where we seen a lot of our action.
I got you. So, what age did you actually get on the volunteer side?
Oh man, you would ask that. 2002, so I would have been quick math. I'd have been around 32.
32.
Around 32 years old. Yeah.
Okay. So, what were you doing between school and then? Like,
I worked in a body shop for around 10 years, and then I worked at a automotive accessory place. We did window tint, hitches, bed liners, stereo systems, power steps, just you name it. It was that sort of a business. If there was something that somebody needed done to a vehicle or to a trailer or something like that, we pretty well did those.
Yeah.
And the body shop, I was a paint prepper for the body shop. And I just needed a better job, so I was still looking for better jobs along the way, and that was just kind of a circumstance, I guess, that just arose for me to be in that place at that time for the volunteer department, and I got to doing it, and I started getting a very good interest in it and really liking it, and went from there.
So, you were working at the body shop when you decided to try out for the paid department we were on?
When I started trying out, yes, I started trying out while I was at the body shop, but it was kind of a thing to where I knew that my boss at that time was going to be mad, so I was hiding it.
Low key.
I was making excuses. You gotta realize that back in the early 2000s, when I started trying out with the last name of Williams, it went in alphabetical order. So I was towards the back of the list, and there was times where I would be number 82 or so on the list of guys trying out. Well, I didn't think anything about that before I tried out the first time, and so I just thought, okay, I'll go in, I'll try out, I'll be good, I'll make it to work on time, no big deal. And then I realized partway into it I was going to be late, and so we were in between, because you couldn't be late. If you were late,
Right.
they automatically kicked you out. So I couldn't be late. But it started at 6 a.m. It's not like it started late. It started at 6 a.m. And I made it through the first part of it and realized that I was going to be late for work. So I had to call and make an excuse. Hey, I'm going to be late. I'm not going to be able to make it at 8 o'clock when I thought I was going to be able to. And he's like, all right, no big deal. Just when you can get here, get here.
Right.
And I never ever told him that I was trying out for the fire department. And probably glad I didn't.
How many times did you end up trying out?
I tried out 5 times over a period of 8 years.
How many years did you have on at in the paid side?
The paid side, I had 14 years.
14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all 5 times you tried out, there's 80 something people? You think?
No, I would say as I started trying out, the first 3 times were 80 something people, and then it got down to I would believe there was 50.
Yeah. It's still a large number.
Yeah, 51, 52, somewhere around there on, because I'm pretty sure that I was number 51 on that.
When you tried out, were you guys going to the Southtown Fire Station?
Southtown Fire Station. Yeah.
I could remember going there every time I tried out. Same thing, Southtown Fire Station, and then there was no parking. I had to park at the school and then walk over to
Yeah, we parked at the school, but that created a conflict too if it was during the school year,
Right.
Because those went past 8 o'clock, but they would weed out a few people for sure during the run, and so that would open up some spots. And then I want to say finally, before I actually got hired, we were able to park at that parking lot between what is now Station 5.
Where the radio tower's at now, or
admin building, and yeah,
It's
where
Station
the
5.
radio tower is. Where the radio tower is.
Yeah.
We were actually allowed to park in there, which helped quite a bit to
Yeah.
relieve the parking lot for the school.
I got you. I remember when we were doing the I can't remember which time it was when I tried out, but I can remember doing the 1.5 mile run. You had to have it in 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first thing when I tried. That was the first thing we did, rattle out of the box. And there was some big yoked up dude. I mean, like he was cut up. He was big, probably 6'3". I mean, just solid muscle.
Big guy.
And I remember we took off on the track from the far end from the Southtown Fire Station.
Right.
And then you did that lap and a half, and you were at 1.5 miles. And he was in the same heat that I was, and when we took off running, as soon as he got to the corner on the first lap, he ran directly off the corner into the school parking lot and got in his vehicle and left. He never
even
went and
slowed down,
checked
just
in.
went straight in?
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
wow.
it. It was funny because I was like,
That's pretty
oh,
wild.
big boy's big, but he ain't got no cardio.
Yeah.
So-
No, it's pretty tough for a bigger guy to have a lot of cardio like that. But 1.5 miles was fairly basic. Of course, from not getting hired and learning that if you don't run, you kind of lose it.
Yeah.
It kind of started a little adventure there for me into running, because I never actually considered myself a runner, but we would run 3, 4, 6 miles. We had different layouts from the track where we would run, and even after I was hired, I still ran for a little bit. We'd enter 5Ks. There was a little group of us that would run quite a bit, and it got to be a pretty interesting time, honestly. Just running,
It's
especially
crazy
you
when
never considered
running
yourself a
becomes
runner.
enjoyable
Yeah.
to you,
Yeah.
because when you first start running, you're like, man, this really sucks, and it does when you first start, and then at some point there's a switch that flips, and you're like, you're
Yeah.
actually looking forward to getting that run in.
Well, when I used to run the 5Ks, I would show up to a 5K and I would see people already running, however far of a distance or whatever they were running, and I was like, why are they running? We're fixing to run. And I figured it out. It was because no matter how much I ran, there was still that break-in period. I would go half a mile to 3/4 of a mile
Uh-huh.
before it just stopped completely sucking and became like it just a switch that switched over, and then you could just run, and it was not an issue after that.
Had to get that
I was
breathing
like,
pattern
I
down.
guess that's what they're doing, is getting good and warmed up and getting past that situation so they can go ahead and just run.
Yeah. Yeah. There were interesting times back then. So when you hired in, 4 stations?
4 stations when I hired in.
That they didn't have the 5th one up yet?
They didn't have the 5th one up yet, and the 4th station had really not even been open that long.
You hired in when the damn near exactly when the good days stopped.
You know, I hear that from a lot of the guys that were already there and already going, and I believe it for the most part, but we still did have a lot of good stuff going and good times that were not afforded to me just 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
It was different. Me and Jared Weeks, if I can say names. Jared Weeks, we were probably some of the very last guys to actually get to go to a certified Fire One course through OSU in Stillwater.
In Stillwater,
and they made it happen, and we did that. We got to do some training, which I did some more training after that, where I was actually allowed to take the support truck and have the time given to me and that sort of thing, where that changed towards the end. Well, not even towards the end. At the beginning, it changed. It became, well, you can't be off work, and you need to get somebody to work for you. And we're not paying for a hotel. We're not paying your entry to the class. We're not.
You can't take the support truck.
We're not giving you a support truck. None of that stuff. It was.
Yeah.
It was all just completely shut down. And this is still way before COVID, so there's no blame on that.
Yeah. I remember when they would send the guys to, and I mean like the academy up there in Stillwater. Like it was only 2 weeks, but I mean it was still a 2 weeks of, for the most part, some solid instructors that were for like, I remember a ladder captain from Tulsa was one of the main instructors, and and now there's another guy that is a captain there still. But anyways, like they were quality instructors that they knew their stuff, you know.
Correct, yeah.
And I feel like they're robbing the new guys of that because it's all in house.
Well, we were put in situations that I haven't really seen paralleled to in Oklahoma to any other training really that I've been at. It was thorough. It was good. Every day we were in our gear. We were masking up. We were doing things that were outside of just what the instructors locally had seen.
Yeah.
We were dealing with instructors that were from different areas that had been through different scenarios and kind of incorporated that stuff into the class. And we went through ours in 14 days, and it was nonstop. We didn't get a break. We didn't get a weekend or time off or whatever, and we were literally there. We started, we probably got up at 6 and got to the training ground around 7, maybe even a little before 7.
Yeah.
And started.
Did you go with somebody
working
else?
And getting busy. I just went with Jared Weeks.
So Jared was with you?
Jared was with me the whole time. Yeah.
When I went, I had Jimmy Forehand with me.
Very
but
good.
Like the bond that I built with Jimmy to this day it was forged there.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
and then when
absolutely.
we got back on the line, it just got stronger. But like your litter mate is
that was me and Weeks, and we had trained and gone through stuff there together, and there was no time in the evenings to do anything other than study our book, because we got our homework packet and we had most of that done, but we still had to study the chapters and get it done. And one of the best things that happened though was me and him got paired up on our skills test, and with all the people that are there, and you know how they split you into groups, and you've got we weren't in a group together, but on the testing day You go through your individual skills, and then when you go through your team skills, you're basically stuck with whoever ended up behind you in the line to test. Well, there was a guy that was between me and Jared, and he had failed his second skill at this point, and so, and this wasn't back when they would just let everybody pass so they could have a passing person. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I drew him for the skills test, and I was just like, throw whatever you want at us, because like we got this, and we did. We rocked it, and the instructor was pretty well a hard ass, and he questioned us on our technique and how we had done it, and we confirmed exactly how we did it and why we did it, and he said, well, all right.
Man, I think it's good too. Like when it shouldn't be just an easy pass. You should have to prove what you know. You know,
Absolutely.
it's already like it's 2 weeks. It's not an academy at a department, which is longer, stretched out and stuff.
Right.
But like 2 weeks is it's still you should be tested in the knowledge that you're supposed to be getting.
Right.
And same with the physical. Like if you can't deploy hose and stretch hose, like.
Absolutely.
What are you doing? Why are we handing these certificates out? So
Well, they did all they could to help you if you were struggling or had a need or whatever. They did everything they could to help you, but they absolutely did not cater to the weakest link.
yeah,
Like they at least held up a minimum standard. It's a minimum standard,
yeah,
and we have to get here. And if you can't get here, I'm just sorry. You need to work
It's
a little
nothing
harder,
against you,
or
yeah.
maybe you're just not cut out for this.
yeah. Nothing
And-
against you. You can make yourself do it.
Correct.
How about the God? What was the where you had to go from the first floor to the second floor through that little bitty hole? Did you guys have to do that with the attic ladder?
Mm-hmm. Got a 16-inch hole.
Yeah. And I look at that and I'm like, well, they must have took that out of the curriculum.
No,
Because
well, I don't know if they did that or not, but we had to go through an actual hole for the attic ladder, and I'm not certain that one was 16 inches, but it was small, a regular size attic ladder, and we got through there with much patience and help, like figuring out which way
Some
to go.
coaching and-
Some coaching, I guess you'd say, not help,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
coaching. And so we made it through there, and there was a guy, they kept telling us that there was a story about this guy that used to be a football player, and he was so big, and he made it through there. And we had some people who were pretty big that made it through there, and I'm like, oh, if they can make it,
yeah,
I gotta make it. So we did that. That one didn't bother me as bad as the one where we had to go underneath the stairwell, and you have to go, and it goes to a 90 and then another 90, and
getting smaller as you
ended
go.
up had to change positions and then come out that way.
Yeah.
That one will test you.
That was a good
And-
one too.
And I've seen some of the volunteer classes, and they just have to like crawl under a utility trailer, like under
Yeah.
the axle or something. I'm like, that is nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to what we did back
I-
there with that.
I know OSFA, Oklahoma State Firefighters Association now, they've really kind of stepped up in the game because they're, I don't know if they got a grant or how they're financing it, but they're actually sending like quality instructors around the state to get Fire One out to these guys. And I mean, it's like, to
That's
me,
awesome.
everything I could see, it looks like it's the same instructors that are going out like pretty consistently, and like
Right.
they got their stuff together, you know.
Right.
And I like to see that because, I mean, some of the smaller departments can't send people to Stillwater.
That's actually a really good deal for volunteer departments who can't afford to be gone for 2 weeks or don't have the training grounds or maybe not the creativity that they need to simulate certain aspects of the training. So that's really good, honestly.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to see. I wish it had been around years ago, but it's cool
Oh,
to see
yeah,
how
absolutely.
it's progressed, you know. And
Right.
like I said, those instructors, top notch.
Right.
So,
I had went through a volunteer Fire One before, and it was on the weekends and stuff because that's pretty well what volunteers can do. But it was really good. We didn't skip on anything that I can think of compared to my actual career Fire 1 course. I mean, obviously it was more in depth at OSU, but the props, I feel like, maybe are the big lacking with any kind of training, like quality props. We had quality props in OSU because that's exactly what it was set up for and what we did. And so anytime I was going up to Stillwater, I felt like we were gonna have some good times, good stuff.
Yeah.
Choctaw, we had some good stuff. Florida, we had some amazing stuff.
Florida was crazy.
That was crazy.
We get to go to Navarre for
We were in Fort Walton Beach.
Fort Walton Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it was around that whole area, but our particular class was in Fort Walton Beach at the fire department there.
That's right. The year we went together down there,
Yes.
we were on Fort Walton.
Correct.
The year previous I was down there, I was in Navarre.
Navarre.
Yeah.
Which is
Okay.
good
I was
for you.
like, was it Navarre or Fort Walton?
Yeah.
But yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
close to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
And that was some definitely quality training. That
yeah.
was- I don't want to get off subject too far, but that was just,
We can go way off subject.
man, we were training with chiefs. We were training with lieutenants. We were training with new firefighters. We were training with smoke divers.
Mhm.
We were training with all these different people who were coming to this area, to this conference, and they were taking the same classes that we were taking. So we were all learning, and I can remember teaching, not teaching, but I can remember helping out guys who I felt were way more qualified than me with real world stuff that I had or done, and
Yeah.
same with them. They helped me on a lot of stuff. So, and it was amazing to network with people from Oregon, Georgia.
Yeah.
That
That poor dude from Oregon got. Remember how sunburned he got?
Yes, he did. He
My
wasn't used to
God.
that. That was, it was amazing. And you were around some of the, if you follow any kind of training or fire set, then you know a lot of these people, or if you've listened to other podcasts, you've heard these people, and
Mm-hmm.
now we're meeting them and we're just hanging out with them in the evenings. And
Yeah, a lot of those guys write for Fire
just-
Engineer magazine. I mean, like,
and you know how good it feels whenever you can just get around somebody that's your mindset, and you can talk to them, and you feel comfortable where you can just ask them anything, and like they may make fun of you, but they're going to help you, or they're going to say, no, we've never done that, which is never usually the case. But
yeah.
it was really good. Very
Nobody's
interesting.
really looking down on anybody.
No.
You know, and the first time I went down there, I was intimidated to be around some of those guys because I was
Absolutely, I
like,
was.
damn, this dude is basically like, I mean, he's famous. This
Yeah.
guy's known around the world
Absolutely.
for being a firefighter and a badass firefighter, and I'm coming from small little bitty city in
Small town.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You know, but
Which there was a lot of people that were there that were also from Arkansas, and they were small town people. They were a little bit bigger than us per se, but they were still small town.
yeah.
And
It was interesting to see the support systems that the different fire departments gave their guys too. You know, like some of them, yeah, you just check out your bunker gear, check out a SCBA.
we talked about a lot of that,
Yeah.
with everybody down there, because it was different to know, you know, coming from a department where we couldn't get off to go training, and they wouldn't take care of anything. It was nice to hear other departments that were like, no, absolutely not. They're taking care of my spot while I'm gone. They want me to.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen with everybody that's going to want to go, but if you've got guys that want to go, that's amazing to be at a department that will be like, let's see what we can do to make this work.
Yeah.
And do that.
Yeah,
So,
and bend over backwards to get it, because the information that those guys are going to bring back, if it's allowed to be shared, which it should be allowed to be shared,
I know I shared
it's
some of mine.
invaluable, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Do you remember there was more than one guy that had flown in? And because we were asking about the logistics of that, like how do you fly in with your gear? Like how do you get through TSA, all this stuff? Because we carry random amounts of stuff in our pockets. Our gear's made of different materials and all that, and they had actually lost their gear,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were panicking because they were like, "How am I going to go back when I don't have gear and I don't know where it is?"
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
I couldn't imagine that. That's why we drove.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I think a lot of people drove, but Oregon, he wasn't going to drive. That's
No.
too far.
That dude was
But-
so red. I mean, like,
Yeah,
so red.
he was very red.
That was crazy. And then, like, the one thing I like about those conferences too is like you're nobody's going to that to one of those conferences that doesn't want to learn. Period. I mean,
100%. There was
you-
nobody there that didn't want to learn.
Right.
At whatever level they were at, they didn't come just as a slough off training for an incentive pay. They came to learn.
Right.
And we use tools that we were not allowed to have. Probably even if we purchased them ourselves, we wouldn't even be able to use them in our departments
Yeah.
that we were in. But it's nice to be able to use the high-end tools or out-of-the-box tools, and not exactly what should just this. We have to use this tool for this.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like that at all. And even when we were ripping through the roofing section, we used different K-saws. We used different blades. We had the Warthog, the 7-tooth, the 14, like the carbide. We had all that. And we
Yeah.
got whatever y'all want to do. If you want to, not like they had an unlimited budget, but like we were able to change blades if we wanted, and then we were able to run through different scenarios.
Yeah, and see how the what each thing we were using to cut, how it affected the patient by vibrations or torque,
when
or
we
you
put
know,
the
like,
rebar.
yeah, that was
like an impaled.
a simple thing, but invaluable.
You don't think about that though.
Yeah.
Whenever you're.
Is it getting hot?
Yeah.
Are we cooking somebody
Yep.
from the inside? I mean,
Yeah, it was a lot different holding that, like you've been impaled, and then having your partner cut.
Yeah.
Not just the holding it, but like it's close to you, and they're cutting within close proximity. We were safe, obviously, but it
Yeah.
was still different being on that side of the scenario.
why? So that class we had an instructor from one of the Florida task force. I'm not sure which Florida. It was a FEMA task force they had.
Yeah, I'm
there.
not sure which task force. He
And
was
then one of them was, is it South Carolina that the other instructor was
with.
from?
He was from South Carolina.
Task force.
Mhm.
Both super squared away dudes.
Very squared away, yeah.
And humble. That was, I mean, hell, they love Mountain Dew.
They were humble. They were to the point, but they were humble.
Yeah.
They weren't unapproachable, but they were still like, we didn't get too far off course. Like, we'll get a little ways off course and see what we're doing here, but we got to get back on this because
Yeah.
we got a lot to go through and a lot to learn.
It was good times. I definitely.
was.
I mean, that was my favorite part of the fire service. Though, in general, was like one of the favorite parts because you could. Whenever I went to training, I went with somebody that was wanting to learn
Oh, yeah.
something that we were going, to find out about.
Mm-hmm.
So, like-minded dude you're going with. Then you get to socialize after the training. That was always a huge, important part to me in the fire service, was socializing with my brothers. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I don't just want to know you at work. I want to know about your family life. I want to know everything about you because, like, you're
You're who I live with.
yeah. I mean, honestly,
Basically, you're who I live with a third of the year.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and it makes you closer, and you learn to depend on the guys. You know?
you have to depend on each other, and that's where kind of before we got into this, that's what we were talking about. It was like, man, it was amazing to have a crew that you trained with outside of the department, trained with inside the department, and you knew what each other could do. And so when you got to a scene, you pretty well knew people's strong points, or I wasn't necessarily in leadership at that point, but I could still see what people's strong suits were. And the captain that I had at the time, great captain, and he realized that too, and he knew how to take care of his guys and kind of not completely give us free roam, but he knew what we could handle and what we couldn't handle. And He would. We did a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff.
Take care of the job, and as long as it's taken care of, there's not even going to be any questions.
Versus having a crew that you're kind of distant. You don't really go around each other. You don't know when that guy had training last.
Yeah.
Not to really question anyone's intentions, but why are they here? Like, are they really a firefighter? Or are they here for a check? Like,
Right.
there's and then there's some people who were probably pretty good at training at one point, and then might have gotten either burnt out or pushed down enough that they just kind of
Soured. There was a lot of people got soured just
there was
because
a lot of people.
like,
I would say some good people that I realized they're not bad people. They're just kind of soured
Right.
on it. They know their stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely know their stuff.
Yeah,
they're just
they're
kind of soured on it.
soured on it, and to them it's just, is it worth the target on your back, or just shut up and
Is
be
it worth
there?
the target on your back?
Yeah.
But if you have a target on your back, that means you're a threat to somebody.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. A lot of targets got handed out.
A lot of targets got handed out.
But so how was your promotions like through the fire department? How long did it take you to hit R Fire 2 versus driver, lieutenant? Like, how'd that go for you?
Okay, so our Fire 2 was not a Fire 2.
Not if
and,
stuff.
And I wanted to get Fire 2, but there was no point because it was not recognized. So if it's not recognized, you're only doing it for yourself, but it's almost like a repeat of the same thing. But once again, it was going to be a point to where I had to take off work to go through it, to do it.
Uh-huh.
Well, we were at the point already where we were getting kickback on being able to go train. So I just had the 5 rescue classes. Actually, when I started, I had a pretty good stack of classes. Being a volunteer, I had already had a pretty good stack of classes that I had taken, and they didn't really want to count a lot of them at that time. And so I had to take some other classes to make them fit. We had to have 5 classes to get to the Fire 2. And so I did that and got through what the department's Fire 2 was. And then
How long did that take you?
not very long. I was pretty well going to classes as much as I could back at that point. I was hitting the regional schools and finding other schools, and then
Yeah.
of course once you were on the department and you got around a bunch of like-minded people, you were able to say, hey man, you want to go to this class this weekend? And people were like, sure, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
And
let's
so,
go.
So yeah, we would do that. The weekend classes were easier. A lot of those classes for that certification, the Fire 2 certification, were pretty well weekend classes. You could get them done in a weekend. So took those. One of the classes that we did get to go to was in Lawton area, out in the Wichita Mountains. We did our fire.
You did that with Weeks, didn't you?
Yes, and Tyler Martin. We did ropes 1, 2, and 3 out there. There was 1, 2, and 3 at that point. It was 1, 2, and technician, and so we did all that out there, and that was one of the last classes that was not required that I was actually able to take. Sport truck, we got hotel room reimbursed, that sort of thing happening. But anyway, I get through that. First opening for me, we had to go 3 years in each rank before we were allowed to be eligible to test. Tests were good for 1 year after that. I did not, by the time the 3 year happened, I missed the test by 14 days, maybe less than that. It's tough to remember, but maybe less than that. So I didn't qualify.
Right.
So I had to wait a full year for the next one. The next year came up. There was a position available, and I got to test. I tested with 5 people. Pretty sure. I was beat by seniority points. And then I ended up getting a position. So I was 4 years in when I made driver.
Okay.
And I stayed driver till the first available lieutenant's position, because people weren't moving around a whole lot back then. So there wasn't just a whole lot of positions coming up and coming around, and so it was about 5 years as a driver before I was able to test for a lieutenant.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I tested for a lieutenant, and I made that, and I got lieutenant. So I was at 9 years at this point, and I made lieutenant, and I was a lieutenant for the rest of my career. I never became eligible for a captain's position in the next 6 years. There was not one that once you get to a captain, those positions didn't come available real often. You could get some of your lower end to leave, but the captains really,
once you hit captain,
they
you were
didn't
camping.
have a lot of reason to
Yeah.
get out of there. There was some reason, but not like
Yeah.
when you're lower.
Yeah. Definitely. What was your favorite rank?
My favorite what?
Rank that you had?
Driver.
Driver?
Driver was my favorite rank, other than the fact that I didn't get to go into a lot of fires. I enjoyed making entry, being backup. I enjoyed, I would say search, but we weren't really allowed to do that.
Right.
I enjoyed being on the inside, the worker. I enjoyed, not that I wasn't a worker as a driver, but I had a different job.
Right.
A driver was, you show up, you make sure you've got a water supply, you maintain the water supply, you take care of air packs for people, you make sure the tools are there, make sure what they have. You're responsible for making all that get back on your truck, not on the other truck.
Right. Right.
And taking care of your guys that way. There was more downtime as a driver. I feel like it was a safer position. Plus, on the back side of that, as a driver, now you've been on a few years, you've got a little bit of seniority. Not a lot of people promote super fast, so you had seniority, you were in charge. The way our department was, you did a lieutenant's job because you were in charge of a station, even though you shouldn't have been. There was two people per station, so you lost your fire care, or your fire protection. But anyway, you would have that little bit of upper rank seniority without all the BS that came along with a lieutenant's position.
Yeah. I went 10 years before I tested for anything. Once I hit, as soon as I came off probation, my first year, as soon as that went over, I went straight to our fire 2.
Right.
And then I literally I didn't test for 10 years for driver.
There's nothing wrong with that. There was a lot of people who, it was kind of confusing to me why they wouldn't, but after a little while I learned that you're not everybody. Don't think that somebody's going to be like you are and you're not like they are. That's what makes you you. And honestly, there was several times where I felt like I was in it too soon. I should have waited. There should have been, which I'll go into this just briefly. There should have been more of a succession plan to how to do this.
Where's our relief drivers?
When I passed as a driver, we are literally tested on how to pump a truck, but not in a situation. You've not had any real world active fire, so it's completely different when you've got adrenaline, when you're running off of a hot hydrant versus a weak hydrant versus just static. Or drafting. It's all totally different, and you can do that in a test. Great, that's fine, but that's not the real thing. That's not you worried about. You've got guys in a burning building and you're running out of water. That's
how do I transition from
exactly. And so there was a little bit of that, and then there was a few times where it was questionable about some calls that were made. With discipline that were probably better suited for a higher up, not a new driver. And so that sort of stuff you kind of had to deal with. But there definitely needed to be a better succession plan. and not just straight from the book. It needed to be real world. If you were in a leadership position, now you're dealing with rules and regs, SOPs, SOGs, contract for the union. So you needed to be tested on a lot of that stuff versus just, hey, what's your flow rate and friction loss?
Right. What was crazy to me on the whole promotion deal in general was after the IFSAC Fire 1, there was no other IFSAC requirements that I can remember. Was there that you remember?
No.
You didn't have to for driver. We just had our departmental driver engineer. So departmental, and now we're trusting this guy to drive $1.5 million or $2 million piece of equipment and operate it. But he's just departmentally qualified.
Departmental qualified.
We didn't have Officer 1.
No.
We didn't have Officer 2. And it showed. I mean, it definitely showed that we didn't have guys that had the training.
Right. That sort of stuff.
It was nuts.
Is fire service tradition, I guess you'd say. Like, literally, when I started, we had to have nothing. You had to be 18 and have a pulse.
Yeah.
And you could be a firefighter.
Have that EMT license too.
I remember being a volunteer, and we went to a fire, and not knowing at the time, we did almost everything wrong you can think of. I was in shorts. We were on
cut off sleeve shirts.
Oh yeah, we were on a crossing, and we were trying to do a back burn. Nobody had a lighter. We didn't have anything. We hit a bump and knocked most of the stuff out of the truck, including people.
You don't know what you don't know.
We didn't have radios. We were just freelancing. And when I went to class, and I was like, freelancing, that's what we were doing. We were freelancing. We had no communication with IC or anything. So people were leap years ahead of us. And that kind of is what bothered me whenever I got into the career side of it. I really thought it would be a little different. And when I started, we were still borrowing radios that were in the ambulance because they were missing from the truck, and you only had a radio. I can remember going places, and whoever took the radio for some reason maybe didn't return it, something like that. Maybe it got broken. We didn't get a report on what happened, but we went places and we'd be like, hey, one of us has got to wait outside because we don't have any way to hear a radio if we get a call.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about our safety at that point. It was about if we get a call.
Right.
We were more worried about going into the gas station to get a drink or a piece of pizza than and missing a call than being in a house with somebody that was hostile or maybe a threat to us.
Yeah.
And not having a way to
contact them,
get any kind of help. So it was very weird at that time, and that was one of the biggest challenges for me was throughout my career. I wouldn't say my whole career, but almost every bit of my career, I was under the impression that I could make a difference. I felt like I could do something. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be the best team we could be. I wanted to, and I'm not talking train 24/7, but if you wanted to know about something, or if you wanted to train at an odd hour that the contract or the city didn't allow, I was fine with that. I didn't have an issue because we were called anytime, day or night, night or day, rain, shine, didn't matter. That's where we go. And if they couldn't figure out that it went to the dog catcher, the police, the water department, they called us. And so we got a lot of weird calls. And it was something that was just very disappointing, thinking that I could do something better than what I had done.
I think that's one reason I enjoyed on the training aspect. Like, that's one reason I like going to trainings with the other guys.
Yeah, you almost know what they've been through if you're training with somebody, and it's not a good feeling to feel like you're being trained by somebody who possibly knows less than you.
Yeah, I was always open to listening to everybody, but damn, it was pretty obvious when some guys didn't know what they were saying.
Right.
Like, I mean, and they'd get real defensive. You know what I mean? Like,
They would,
so
yeah.
usually if you could tell somebody didn't know what they were saying, as long as they weren't preaching unsafe stuff, I just shut up and
Right.
especially if it
Well,
wasn't.
there's a lot of room for error
Yeah.
in our
Yeah.
field. There was
It's
several
constantly
different ways,
changing.
Several different ways to do it.
Yeah.
I guess is a better way to put that.
Yeah, it's constantly changing, you know.
Mhm.
I know a couple times you sweated heat because we did training that was outside of the normal hours. I remember when we did rotary saw K-12 training at night,
Yeah.
and it wasn't mandatory. Nobody
it
was
it
made
was
to attend
optional.
it, but we had almost a whole shift there
Yeah,
training.
it was optional because there's a need for that, and everybody realized they needed to learn something,
Yeah,
and not just anything, but this is beneficial to us when we get on scene. There's a lot of stuff at a fire scene that should be programmed into your brain to just be normal. Don't think about it. I got plenty of other stuff to think about, and while I'm thinking about that other stuff, I don't need to be doing with the basics. And we struggled a lot of times with the basics. We
Right.
didn't high frequency. How does that go? High frequency,
Low frequency,
or
high
low
risk.
frequency, high risk. Yes.
Yep.
So low frequency, high risk was a humongous issue for us
Mm-hmm.
because it was low frequency, and it was always met with from anybody else or somebody who didn't want to train or whatever. Well, we don't have as many fires. There's no reason. That is 100% total bullshit.
yeah,
That's 100% the reason why you need to do it. And we shouldn't have more than one person trying to open up a hydrant. We shouldn't have too many people trying to run a supply line. There's just no reason for that. There's plenty of other stuff to be doing. We have a house that needs to have every available area that can be livably occupied searched. It needs done. Thankfully, we never had any super bad fires, third story apartments or anything like that.
We got super lucky
Those
on-
would have been such disasters because we were just not ready for that.
Do you remember on, geez Louise, Main Street across from Taco Bob's, the 2-story commercial building? The people lived upstairs.
Upstairs.
If it hadn't been for bystanders pulling up in a truck, actually performing the rescue, there would have been dead people there.
Yes.
You know, but
was this before or after they left a fire engine without an extending ladder for
that was it.
3 months?
That was it.
This
That,
was
that was then.
It didn't have the ladder at that point.
Yeah, because Engine 4 showed up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you let a fire engine, that is a huge safety issue, go
Yeah.
without a ladder?
Yeah, it's
That
crazy.
doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, we did luck out. We lucked out quite a bit on
That's the problem.
stuff.
That's
So,
the problem. We lucked out so many times that it just became commonplace, and everybody just felt like it wasn't a big deal. We were gonna luck out again. But the training, I was an advocate for the training. Whatever time anybody I could get together that would train, and it got pretty low. And then there was a lot of people who didn't want to train in the first place.
Yeah.
I was brought in for a write-up, and on the write-up was a bunch of additional stuff that wasn't even part of the original write-up, but that
Right.
was on there, and I was asked about secret training.
Secret training.
Secret training, because I didn't tell the captain. There was no secret training. We were not training in a new skill.
And you were a lieutenant at that point?
I was a lieutenant at the time. We were not training in a new skill. We were not training for an incentive. We were not training for any kind of certificate. We were actually doing, I want to say masking drills, just quick mask drills, just racing each other. And as a lieutenant, you should be doing that. You should be going through that with your guys.
That's your job.
And you should be trying to beat these guys and show them how the old school does it. And anyway, I was just blown away. Like,
Yeah.
secret training. Are we serious right now?
Yeah.
I was told that I had to have a safety officer, which I do not. I'm the safety officer for that because we're all safety officers when it comes
Yeah.
to certain types of training, and it's just a drill. It's not a
I mean,
But
basically that right there boils down to why
the problem
there's
was,
very little training that goes on.
yeah,
Right.
the problem was mainly on that was there was uh, the captain at that time that I had didn't like the stations getting together, which is complete and utter chaos and
Uh-huh.
just
We're in a small town.
derailing
Yeah.
your fire department.
Yeah.
And then two, one of the guys that was there who just happened to be his little tattletale, his little birdie, I guess,
Uh-huh.
didn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there during the day if we're training.
Yeah.
But he definitely didn't want to be there at night. So he goes crying to the captain, and the captain gets upset with me. Of course, he was obviously upset with me over a bunch of other stuff that I didn't know about, and then that was brought up. But it's not like it was a secret. I knew exactly where it was,
Yeah.
where it came from. I'm
Yeah.
like, we went from brotherhood to backstabbers
Yeah.
really fast when it came to having to actually do any kind of work.
Yeah.
It was.
Man, I got to the point where I knew the guys that wanted to train. I'd get with them, and I pretty much avoided the other ones. And
Well,
you shouldn't be avoiding your people, but I mean, at some
No,
point
you're
you
not.
gotta avoid them because you ain't looking for none of that shit, man.
Well, there's a difference in avoiding them and just avoiding them on the training. I always extended my training to anybody that wanted to come, but like you say, there was people that you knew absolutely 100% did not want to come, and so you didn't really push on them. But some of the others you would push on, and those people would unfortunately get put with people who were less than players, and
Yeah.
so they would be the hitch in the giddy up there. They
Yeah.
wouldn't want to
Yeah.
do that.
I always loved when people would show up that, man, they would talk the talk, but boy, they couldn't walk the walk. They couldn't perform what they said they could. You know, it was like,
At least they tried.
Yeah.
That's all I can say on that one.
Yeah,
At least
yeah, I
they
mean,
tried.
well,
But
if they tried, sometimes they just
Yeah.
sit back to the side.
if
But
they didn't try, or they made excuses to leave, or they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey, man, I'll take that ambulance call," or
yeah,
"Oh, do
no
y'all-"
other time would anybody take an ambulance
yeah,
call.
exactly. Hey, do y'all need lunch? I'll go get lunch. Like,
I will
no.
say, if I'll raise my hand and say I'm guilty of trying to get out of something in the fire service. Can you guess what it was?
EMS calls.
I hated EMS. I still hate EMS calls.
Going to Station 5. No, I don't know.
I hated Station 5. Hose testing.
Oh, see?
I hated hose testing with a passion.
So many people hated hose testing, and I get it. It's hot. It's daunting. There's a lot of work, but I loved it. And the reason why I loved it was because we were back to doing fire stuff. We were off of that ambulance for a brief minute there, and we were back to doing fire stuff, and we were working as a team. We're still I mean, not doing much skills. But we were hot and we were working together, and the main thing was we were together. I feel like they tried to keep us as divided as possible, and they didn't want us around each other, and so there was a point where we were not allowed to go to other stations. We weren't allowed to get out of our area, and that was just terrible. We needed to be together. We didn't need to be two people at a station for any reason.
It wasn't how I started.
Unless you only had a fire truck or you only had an ambulance, I don't feel like there was any reason why you should ever cut your manning so short. You are shortchanging your citizens, and you are just asking for a problem. When that stuff
What was it
goes
that they
south,
said?
it is going to be historically bad, so bad.
Were they calling it congregating
They
at number 2 when we would be out there?
Oh yes, we were taking too long after trainings. They only allowing training that he had put on. He was only allowing training at Station 5, which he was calling a training ground. There was nothing there that was a training ground versus anywhere else. Or if we had to, we could go to the South Station, which was right there, and he could see it. And
Yeah.
as soon as we were done, we had to leave. We could not. It wasn't congregate. It was. Well, maybe it was congregate. We weren't allowed to have camaraderie. That's for sure. We weren't allowed to. We weren't allowed to go eat
What
for years. Then we got to eat, but we couldn't eat together. And
All those years, I do. I remember when we weren't allowed to do anything anymore, but I never remember that guy actually training me in anything, ever. I don't remember one class that he put on in all those years
When I
that he put on that I signed a roster to.
Oh no, I signed rosters for classes that he put on, but he didn't actually.
Oh, I guess
He
maybe I
didn't
didn't
really
look at-
actually teach those classes.
Yeah.
But yes, he spoke a little, and then he would have somebody else
Yeah,
do it. But
yeah, it was pretty crazy.
I think one of the captains learned from him.
Well,
Just pass it on and let the other person do it.
I will definitely say I miss the fire service because I miss the good times and I miss the guys, the fellowship.
100%.
But I'm 110% glad to be out of that toxic environment, man. It was crazy.
That was so. When I had started, it was a large change for me to go to being a career guy, and it wasn't just because of staying the night or having these strange instances with random strangers or stories or blah blah blah. It was because the workload was totally different. You're there 24 hours. Now there was times where I may have gotten 20 minutes of sleep, and there was other times where we didn't hardly have a call. I was typically at a busy station.
Yeah.
Sometimes out of being the low guy, and sometimes out of just I would rather be here because I know nobody else wants here, and I can handle the workload. I'd rather be busy.
Yeah.
And so we were there, but there was a lot of standing around, which I was not used to at all, because I got in trouble at any other job I had. I was in trouble if I wasn't working. If the boss came through and I was standing there talking to somebody, I was in trouble.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what do we do? And they're like, when that tone goes off, we go.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're eating, in the bathroom, showering, you're asleep,
Yeah, you gone.
you're gone.
You gone. And
So
you got a certain amount of
that
time
was
to do it.
Totally different for me, and it took a little bit of getting used to. And then there was a lot of people who were griping about some things that I didn't feel like were that bad. Of course, this was a union job. Before there, I had no idea what really a union was, and I didn't have a job like that. It was a job that was get your ass to work, and if you don't like it, go home.
If you don't like it, there's the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I took a job right after I left.
some of the stuff they were griping about was just not gripes to me.
Right.
I was
Not
like-
legit.
I was like, do it. It's not a big deal. Do it. But there was a history and a backstory, and there's a reason we don't do this and that, and you kind of learned to understand most of it. But at the same time, there was a lot of it where it's like, y'all are just being jerks. Like,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be fighting about this. This should be, we got other stuff to fight about.
Well,
Like-
you can't train on Mondays,
Or
and
Friday.
you can't train. Was Friday in there too?
Yep.
And you can't train after 5 o'clock. I was like, damn, when are we training? Like Tuesday through Thursday, 8 to 5. Like, come on now. Like,
Because that's when all your stuff happens.
Well,
Tuesday through Thursday, 8 to 5.
yeah, I mean, you can count on 8 o'clock somewhere in the city. Someone's calling the ambulance because Nene or Papa didn't wake up. So there's your first code you're going to do for the day.
If it's not
The-
a DOA.
The nursing home's going to call.
Oh yeah.
For sure, because now we're doing rounds. I mean, like, so you're out of pocket, so you're not going to train. Like, if you're not training in the evening time, you're just not going to get it in. You know,
Well, even on that,
where we were at.
even on that aspect, when I started, the call volume was a lot lower.
Oh yeah,
And so, with a lower call volume, we were afforded the luxury to do a little more training. And I can remember lieutenants and drivers even actually putting on training for us in house and doing pretty good. And we would take a little longer than it took to train, but we didn't miss really any calls. There wasn't, not that I'm aware of. There might have been something that I didn't know about that we
Yeah.
missed, but we didn't really miss any calls. And then as the call volume just got higher and higher and higher, we were taking calls that were not involved with the SOPs, SOGs, They were stuff that we weren't supposed to take according
Yeah.
to that stuff, and so that would break up our trainings. That would break up our um, hose testing. It would break up a lot of things. And what I noticed several times is a bunch of, well, we'll pass this guy because he signed the roster.
Yeah.
I can remember having classes that are required that I did not take. And I know that sounds horrible, but I did not show up. I showed up, signed the roster, or maybe I didn't sign the roster and immediately got a call. And then I came back and was told to sign it to get credit, or I wouldn't get credit.
Yeah.
And I needed the credit because it's required.
EMSCUs.
Maybe I didn't sign it, and I would have another call, and then I would be gone again. And meanwhile, now I've been back to back, gone 2 to 4 hours, and they would still track me down with the roster.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to sign this. And I said, hey, I was not in the class. Well, you're not going to get credit if you don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't get credit, you got to go somewhere else to get it. But we're not going to pay for that.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose situation for you, the citizens, the department. It's just terrible. And
It definitely got to be a
that
grind.
stuff aggravated me to no end.
Yeah.
And there was nothing you could do about it, because as long as we have the numbers right and the financials right,
Yeah.
don't come to me.
As long as you get that signature
Don't come to me.
on that necessity form, you're good. We ain't worried about much else.
And when that stuff rolls downhill, it's just going to keep rolling right past the head of the department there. It's just going to.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean? You guys have been saying.
Yeah. I'm glad to be gone, man.
Oh,
I'm glad. I wish I would have took the opportunity to go somewhere else.
Right.
I wish the cards would have been dealt, or I would have played them a different way. But
There's nothing you can do, and we gained a lot, even though we didn't do what we should have done and got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
We gained a lot. We gained the strength and trust of each other. I've got so many guys that I could call at any time, and they wouldn't hesitate.
yeah, man,
And I'm the same.
We
with them.
raised a lot of good guys. We
When
saw
you say-
a lot of guys
when you say
come
raised,
on.
Is this because we're older?
It is, because we were older. We're in our 30s and 40s, and guys
Yeah.
getting hired in, and then, we basically getting to watch them go and better themselves at other
yeah.
departments and metros and stuff. Because there's guys that have
You
left.
were so happy for those guys.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, bro. I'm glad you got to do that. I mean, like, we got
Some of the guys that went to Nichols Hills,
shit,
Shawnee,
Nichols Hill. We got
Midwest City. There's so many of those guys.
Bixby, Oklahoma
Bixby.
City, Tulsa.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all over. I mean, hell, there's majors, captains. I don't
talked-
think anybody's made any chiefs yet, but I know
No.
there's majors, captains, engineers or drivers, and at least one lieutenant that are all out there. You know,
Right.
and those are the ones we've kept track of.
There's a guy that was hired with me at the same time, and he left a couple of years in, and I just spoke with him recently. I ran into him in a store, and we got to talking and catching up and everything, and he said, because we had gone through some really crazy calls. Me and him had a lot of crazy calls. There was a lot of K2 going around at the time, and so we were constantly getting those kind of calls, and I know you know what those are. And he just was expressing how happy he is that he got away, and he said he feels like he would not be where he is if he had not gotten away.
Yeah.
And who knows, he might have been another one of the guys that's just not in the fire service anymore.
Yeah.
And I hate that, because there was a lot of good guys that I feel like were cut out to be firemen, and they just got a really, really bad taste in their mouth here. And instead of getting out and being able to get somewhere else, maybe they applied, maybe they didn't make it, maybe they didn't apply, they just ended up out of the fire service. And I really feel like they were some true firefighters.
Right.
And they didn't make it. And
I
that's
mean,
unfortunate.
it says something about a department when you got lieutenants at your fire department that are applying to go be a rookie
Yeah.
at other departments. I mean, That should be an eye opener when
Yeah.
when you're lieutenant, your second highest guy on shift is applying to go be a rookie somewhere else.
Take a pay cut.
Yeah.
Go through all the training again.
But, okay, so
And he's still
K2.
doing great.
Did you say K? Yeah, K2.
K2.
Tell me about that. Like, what's one crazy story you actually remember about the K2 stuff?
Oh, too many stories. There was most of the time with the K2. By the time we got the call, they were in a situation where someone had found them, and they weren't breathing or barely breathing. We would show up. Either one of the situations would be going on. May have vomited, may have aspirated. They were definitely colors. They were blue or purple. O2s, SATs in the 30s and 40s. They were not doing good, and it would hit pretty sudden. We had a call where we go in, and this guy is acting very strange on the front porch, but the other guy that's right there with him says, we're having to ask questions. We're like, hey, where's the guy? Where's the guy? Oh, he's in there. So we go into the living room. The guy's laid out. He's already vomited. He's purple. His O2 SAT I think was 36, and he's breathing maybe 3 times a minute. And so we get him cleaned up and get oxygen and get him assisted with the breathing. And I'm watching these guys because I'm always sketched out and watching my surroundings. And so I'm watching these 2 guys over that are outside on the porch, and they're just kind of shuffling back and forth. And I'm like, they got to be high or something. And then I look over, and this is about our second ambulance had arrived. We called for help, and the second ambulance arrived, and I look out, and the guy just falls straight over backwards. Boom. Hits his head on the porch, on the concrete porch. He's on the porch. And I said, hey, you need to go check that guy out. Well, same thing. They had all done the K2 at the same time. And so, but this guy hit first, and then that guy hit, and then while they're taking care of him, the third guy goes over.
Right.
And it was a wild situation for a hot minute there, but several of them were bad. There was another guy that was in an apartment complex, and we come around, and he's in the front yard, and I mean, he's in a weird position. He looks like, I don't know, like he'd been shot or hit in the head or something, and he just kind of crumbled straight down. Legs are out, torso's over to the side, head's completely cocked to where it looks like his airway's blocked off. He's so purple, he looks like maybe he had some kind of aneurysm, hypovolemia, or I don't know, but he was just so bad, and he wasn't moving. And I said, that guy's dead. Like, he just 100% looked dead. And so one of the officers had gotten on scene with us, because that was kind of a rougher apartment complex, so they would go over there with us. And he got on scene, and he said, hey, let me go up there. And he goes up there to tap the guy. He taps the guy comes up, and he starts wanting to fight. And I said, that guy's dead. He can't fight.
Yeah.
And
He's a zombie.
Yeah, he's a zombie. Well, he did. He wanted to fight, but they got him restrained. And of course, his color starts getting a little better because now he's moving around. And this was before Narcan or anything.
Narcan wouldn't even work on
which
that.
Narcan wouldn't work on that, but it was still before those days. There was nothing that we had that could really help these people except oxygen.
Yeah.
We were a basic service, which we didn't do all the basic stuff that we could do, but we still could give them oxygen and assist with the breathing, and that was about all we had that could bring them back. But every time they would just kind of laugh it off and be like, dude, you were dead.
Yeah, no big deal.
Like,
I'll fade that.
No.
Man, I went on 2 that I can remember on K2. We got to a house, and there's an older lady sitting in a bedroom, sitting on the end of the bed, and she's just like hyperventilating. I can't breathe, I can't catch my breath, And the last thing I'm thinking is K2. This is an older lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice house. I mean, we're not talking like your typical drug abuser house. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing no roaches. I'm not seeing no clutter. I'm not, there's not a rock collection on the coffee table.
Right.
So, and the daughter's there with her. And you know how we used to go in to two at a time because that's all you had. But
Mm-hmm.
my partner had went in the other room with the daughter, and the lady looks at me and she said, "I smoked some," and I was like, "You smoked some what?" She said, K2, and I was like,
K2.
"Is that what your problem is right now?" She's like, "Yeah," because I was thinking like something totally different. We're
Right,
having
yeah.
a different respiratory issue. And anyways, I went over there and looked in the trash, and there it was, the package. And
Yeah, because they came in those individual packages, and you just kind of ripped them open like a Kool-Aid
Yeah.
packet or something.
yeah, you
They
just
were
buy it
kinda
at the damn
plastic.
store.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So anyway, she ended up being fine, but like she was super embarrassed. She didn't want us to tell her daughter, and I was like, "Hey, I'm either gonna have to tell your daughter, or I'm gonna have to haul you, one of the two. Because if I tell her you're on this and it's gonna wear off, like you'll be fine. Whatever, we'll let you
Right.
be." So we told the daughter, and the daughter's like, "Mom, what?" She's like, "It wasn't marijuana,"
It's a
and I was
surprise.
like, "Oh, okay."
It's probably worse than marijuana.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. And then the other time, we were in the south part of town, and PD called us, and I don't. You might have been on the run with us, but we pulled up, and there was cop cars. I mean, every cop on shift was there probably, and it looked like someone had burglarized this house. Super nice house again. I mean, like you could tell before this incident, the house was probably spotless clean.
Right.
We get in there, and there's damn flower pots with potting soil everywhere in this house. Everything's broke. Tables are flipped over. Chairs are everywhere. And
I don't think I was on that
we
call.
get to the back. You would remember because we get to the back bedroom, and this dude is buck naked, standing on top of the bed. And
The
PD
bigger guy?
huh?
The bigger guy?
No. He's my
Did we have
size.
to wrestle him?
No, I did not. What? You wrestling naked dudes?
Yes.
Oh my
That's a
God.
whole different story, man.
Okay, so we finally the cops get him off there, and we get him on the cot, and we take him. But I mean, I can remember looking at his feet, and it had looked like he'd been outside running for a whole day, but it was all the potting soil that was on the bottom of his feet.
Oh, okay.
And
He had the grocery store feet, but it
yeah.
was all potting soil.
yeah, and I remember thinking, man, his wife, he was married, and I was like, his wife is gonna be pissed when she
Ooh,
gets
yeah.
home. But once again,
Oh, she wasn't even home?
no, she wasn't home. The neighbors had called because of they thought someone was fighting in the house. But I remember
Somebody was fighting.
Yeah, but he, come to find out, he decided he would do this instead of, once again, marijuana. And I was
yeah.
like, probably not
I
the
mean, if you
choice to
didn't
make.
know, I guess that would kind of seem like a safer alternative because marijuana was illegal at that point, and so
Yeah.
you couldn't just go somewhere and get
Yeah,
it.
it wasn't
besides
municipal.
Definitely a dealer.
Municipal.
But you could literally go into the store and buy the K2 without any repercussion. And
Right. Yeah,
Nobody
go
would
to
know.
the gas
Nobody
station.
would know.
Yeah,
So
right next to the hard-on pill.
that was bad stuff.
That caused a lot of cardiac issues there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, so tell me about this naked person you're wrestling.
Yeah, he was quite strong. But we get into the house, and I want to say the family, there was a family member there and said that there was something not right about him, and they thought it was more like a PTSD type deal. And we finally got it out of him that it was heroin.
Oh,
And he needed to come with us, but the problem was he was extremely high, and he was completely naked, and he's in a room with weapons. There was a couple of guns and a knife, and we needed him out of there. And he had been threatening, I believe, whenever we had gotten on scene. I believe he'd been kind of threatening the police
did you go out
officers,
of? Was this out of Station 4?
yes. And
Okay.
And so we get there, and he's in a bedroom down the hallway. It's a narrow hallway, and so I push the cot as far down the hallway as I can, and they're all in the bedroom, and they're trying to get him out, and they're wrestling with him, and they finally get him onto the cot, but he's flipped around so much that he's ripped all the sheets off of the cot. He's just on the actual mat of the cot, and every time you get him restrained, he's back up. Those restraints are just about worthless for that. Well, he finally ended up backwards, face down, and that was the absolute only way we could restrain this guy. We had he was probably between 5'8" and 5'10" and 240 pounds, but pretty solid. And he had, so we ended up getting him face down on the cot and got the straps over him that way, and that was the only way that we could get that guy where he could not get back up. And they teach you 100% that is not the correct way to do it. Obviously, we're going to monitor his airway and everything.
Right.
And
Excited delirium.
yeah, and so that was the only way we could get him, and they finally got him down and handcuffed to that, and we transported him that way. But he was I'm talking, we're 20 minutes into this ordeal before this ever happened. It was that guy was dragging people around. He was dragging 3 people around like it was nothing, and it was a good time.
No, Station 4, for everybody listening here, Station 4 was by far the busiest station at the city we worked in. It was, your ambulance was running nonstop, basically. I had a call out of Station 4, and it was kind of the same thing. This dude was holed up in his bedroom, and we got there. I don't even think we took the cot inside because it was a very crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
We, as EMTs, should not even been allowed in that house, because next thing you know, my situational awareness was junk, because there were 5 officers there. They had called, I thought the scene was safe. Well, little did I know, next thing I know, I'm in the bedroom with the other officers, and this guy's got a knife in his hand. Now, granted, this knife was the size of a toenail clippers. A little file that flips out? That's about how big this knife was.
That still do some damage.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did not see that they had a less lethal shotgun in the room, and they shot this dude right in the stomach. And I thought it was
a real deal?
The actual gun.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, oh my God, like this has escalated greatly. But he did immediately put the knife down. I will say that. He was done messing around with that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason.
And then when I realized it was less lethal, I was like, okay, it's all right.
Man.
But
so I have another story. That kind of reminded me of another story. We could go all night with these.
Right.
So I was with, I'm sure I was a firefighter still, and I was with a lieutenant. I'm not sure how long he had been a lieutenant, but we'd been stationed together, and pretty sure it was Station 4 as usual. We were on the west side of town, and you know how that can get. Well, this guy, the PD had called us because this guy needed to go to the hospital. Didn't say why, that's always, I love dispatch, but that's always been kind of a pet peeve of mine. But
depending on which dispatch you had, some of them will give you all the info.
If an officer says we need an ambulance, they say we need an ambulance over here, and you say, what do what type of call? Because we're trying to prepare. Is it a cardiac? Is it a trauma? Like what's going on? And they're like, we don't know. They just need an officer. Well, if we're somewhere and we say, hey, we need an officer over here, which is rare. We don't usually say we need an officer over here. We say, hey, we need an officer over here. Well, what do you need them for?
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes I can't
now.
tell you.
I need them now.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask questions. I can't tell you exactly.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly right now because it has to do with my safety, but I need an officer here now. Because sometimes you're having a guy go outside. The guy inside turns his radio down. The guy outside goes outside and he says, hey, we need an officer over here. And I ain't got time to say, there's a guy and he's being a little less than friendly and he's threatened us, and there's no time for that. But anyway, back to the other story. So me and this lieutenant, we go on this call. The officers have this guy that they need taken to the ER. I want to say they had to have him medically evaluated so they could take him in. So we're trying to get the backstory on this, and he's got a story about his sons are in jail, and his whole plan is he wants to go to jail so he can get them out. He's going to break them out. Well, they're like...
Sounds like a solid plan.
They're like, no, we're going to have you medically checked out, and then you will probably be going to a mental institution for just a little bit. Just see what's going on. Anyway, he decides, no, that's not going to work for me. What do I got to do to go to jail? Immediately.
What do I have to do to go to jail?
Yes, he pretty well did. And so they're like, well, there's not much you can do to go to jail immediately. And he says, how about if I take your gun? And he reaches and grabs the gun of the officer standing there, and he's pulling it up out of the holster, and the officer knocks it down, and they get into a big old fight. It knocks his holster out because he's got it unsecured at this point, and knocks it out onto the floor.
Oh, shit.
Another officer jumps on him because there was only two there at the time. The other officer jumps on him, and they're both wrestling, and I'm just like moving the gun out of the way, and
Oh, shit.
my lieutenant is gone. I look around, he's gone. I hear him yelling for me. So where the bedroom was, you go into the living room, the bedroom was right there on the left. So I step out where I can still see them, and I can see him, and he's like, get out here, get out here, get out here now. And I didn't go out there just because I had to know these people are fighting and they have weapons. I need to know what's going on.
This is a
Because
life and death situation
if
going
I
on.
come out running, then we both need to run. But if I'm standing outside
Yeah.
and I hear gunfire and I don't know who's got the gun, which direction it's coming from, that changes my outlook on everything that's going on. So I need to know, like, that's my curiosity right there. And two, do I need to step in and help? Because if they can't get it under control and they possibly need a third person, then who else is to step in but me? They can't radio for help at this point, and I don't know if my lieutenant did or not, but because at that time I'm pretty sure that we didn't have but one radio, and I don't know if he had it on him. I highly doubt it. It's probably out in the Terminator, but that was a crazy deal. Well, anyway, he'd been sitting on the bed this whole time before all this happened. He had been sitting on the bed, and he'd been sitting with his arms behind his back like this under a pillow. And we didn't think too much about it. And his wife was there too, but she was being fully cooperative. She didn't ever try anything out of the ordinary, whatever. But well, anyway, by the time they finally get this guy restrained and get him done, she moves the pillow, and he's got a just damn near a machete and a good 7-inch lock blade knife, and he was planning to do some harm, but he kept telling me he didn't mean me any harm. He didn't mean any of the medics any harm. He was only here to harm
The police.
the police, and he only wanted to go to jail. If they would just take him to jail, he would be okay.
Yeah,
Because he was going to break his sons out.
people are crazy. Like they get something in their mind and they're in serious.
It was getting kind of Western there for a minute.
They are nuts. I mean, I can think back and remember lots of old men, elderly men that we would get out of the beds and get onto our cot, and they would have, a 38 special or 357 revolver underneath their pillow, sitting right on the nightstand or underneath the pillow, and like
that wasn't super uncommon. There was a lot of those times though where I just didn't feel any kind of a threat.
No, not at all.
It would be different if I felt a threat. My grandparents were same way. There was a gun, more than one gun, in the bedroom beside the bed somewhere, but there was no history of mental illness or violence. So, and they were being super cool. Now, had they wanted to turn the tables, absolutely they could have.
Yeah.
And we probably would have been caught not ready for that situation. But at the same time, there was a lot of it where it was just like, they don't mean anything. They just need help. Let's get them the help. And
I mean, you can't panic every time you see a gun.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's like you want to take inventory of the situation.
Oh, it would be noted for sure.
You
And
know.
then we would also on those houses make sure, hey, is your house locked up? What do we need to do to secure your house so there's not an issue while you're gone?
When in EMT school, like, do you remember the two things you said or three things you would say before you did a skill?
Is the scene safe?
Is the scene safe?
And I have my body substance isolation.
BSI.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get me on this one. What was the third one?
I've been trained in this skill.
Oh yeah, I've been trained.
Those
That was
three
the
every
firefighter
time.
skill for sure.
But you would is the scene safe? Like, that was the training.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember ever going through hey, you might want to, in class, that you might want to, hey, check the nightstands. Make sure you're looking at people's hands. How many people are in the house?
Well,
Like, do you hear stuff?
I think that came with time. You would kind of get that way over time, especially if you'd been on a couple of bad calls, because there was times where we would go on a call and maybe my superior, whenever we would leave, he would say, "Hey, did you notice this or this?" And I'd be
right.
like, "No, I was focused on the patient." They're
Yeah.
like, "Well, you should have looked around."
Yeah,
because
tunnel vision.
He was literally 3 inches from a revolver, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
No,
That's why I
was
think in
literally
school they should cover that.
focused on helping this guy." But we like to give each other crap. The police like to call us second responders and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got to have the scene safe before they can even go in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're not trained with guns or trained with violence. They train us to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
there's anything going on, you leave. You don't try to fight this guy. You don't try to take up for yourself. You try to get out of there and get somebody who's trained and qualified. You're not trained and qualified for that.
Yeah.
So get somebody else.
And on that deal, like if it's with your partner, you can have all the situational awareness in the world, but if your partner is kind of in la land, and we've all had that partner that was just like shit, they were there but they weren't really there,
Yeah.
like 3 o'clock in the morning and it takes them an hour to wake up and you're on scene
absolutely.
in 5 minutes.
There is times like that.
So it's like you're looking out for you and your partner, but sometimes you're trying to nonchalantly do the head nod or the hey, right here, and I do think that is lacking in the actual class, because to this day I'll recite those 3 things as a joke when we're at work, like, hey, scene safe, BSI.
Yeah.
I've been trained in this skill. Usually we're saying we've been trained in this skill like we're changing a tire or something.
Right.
But
those types of scenarios would be good for training too, because I remember another one. I don't think that you were on that scene. There was several of us on it, at least 4 people on that scene. It was at this person was being evaluated for mental status, and he was not wanting to comply with whatever was going on, and so they were like, he's got to go somewhere else to be taken care of. And so we also had officers on scene, and they were trying, how officers are, they want to try to, they're not as tactful sometimes as
sometimes they're not.
The medics. They're not as tactful, and they're like, you can either go or we'll make you go.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey man, we really need you to go. We're concerned for your well-being. Let's just do this, and then you can go back to this, or get, we kind of go around the bush for a little bit to get them there. Well, this guy had a history of violence. He had a history of mental issues, and he was unmedicated, and he's slowly going around the room, and we're all pretty well in the room. We've got the door blocked so he can't get out, and he's pretty well going around the room, and he's just looking around, and you can tell he's just looking for something. And he finally finds a canister with pencils in it.
Oh,
and he gets right over by that canister of pencils, and he kind of slides around to the back a little bit, and he's over like this, and one of our guys goes up and sits right beside him. He's like, hey man, like, we really need your help. Like, why don't you help us out here? We can go just blah blah blah. And we're all over there going like, hey man, like, we start making up call signs, doing bird noises and stuff. We're like, anything, tookie.
Yeah.
And we're like, and then he's like, when we're over and we're explaining it to him, he's like, no, you really think he would have done that? I'm like, why else would he have grabbed a pencils?
Yeah.
Like, you were fixing to take one to the neck, to the eye, somewhere. Like, pay attention. That was about to be bad.
And when it happens, it happens.
And when it happens, it happens. But I'm glad it didn't happen, because that would have been terrible.
So, is there any, with the fire service, like, is there any prank that you did or were witness to that just stands out in your mind? Like, damn, that was a good one? Or
Man, there was a lot of pranks. More so when I started, and even when I did my clinicals. I did my clinicals with the department before I had ever gotten a job there, and years before I'd ever gotten a job there. And anyway, well, it's tough to say. There was so many good pranks.
So many
good pranks. If I can remember going to the bathroom and sitting on the throne, and somebody jimmies the door open, just leaves it wide open.
Oh yeah, while you're in there, Station 4.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that everybody out there that doesn't know, The restroom at Station 4, if you're sitting on the throne, it's a direct shot to the living room. I mean, the door opens directly into the living room.
Yeah, directly into the living room. And so everybody sitting at the living room, you're there taking care of your business.
You ain't got a choice but to get up at some point.
I had a guy. Okay, so when I started, they did the. We had that old ass bell that was so loud it would just.
Yeah.
You just came right out of your skin like an out of body experience every time. It was just so loud. Well, they figured out how to go downstairs because we had like a day room downstairs. Station 4 was the only one that had the upstairs. One of them would sneak off downstairs and they would hit those contacts and make that bell go. And they would tell me it's a fire and I need to hurry up. Hurry, move your ass, let's go. And it never occurred to me that these guys are already awake, fully dressed, and I'm just coming out of it. And
how are they ready so quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would make me move. Well, this guy would go so far as to actually leave the station sometimes. He would leave the station, maybe even go around the block.
Oh,
and
God.
So it got to the point where we were working in Northtown together, and I was relieving a guy that was going home because at that point we had to leave for the 27 days, so he was half shift off. I want to say that's what it was. Anyway, I was relieving him, so I drive from there to here, no radio. I don't know what happens with if there's a call or whatever. Well, when I come in, the guy that I'm relieving's just moving slow, packing up his stuff. The other guy, the guy who's gotten me several times, is just running frantic, and he's like, "Come on, let's go, we got a fire." And I'm like, sure we do, so I'm moving slow, the other guy's moving slow, and he says, "You might want to hurry." And I said, "Do we have a fire?" And he said, "I don't know, man, I was outside." And I was like, and anyway, by this time my guy is in the truck. He's got it started. He's got it going. He's got the Q siren blaring, and he's yelling as loud as he can at me, "Get your ass in the truck. We gotta go." And it was in our area. It was an actual fire.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know, and I scramble around. I get my stuff.
The boy that cried wolf.
Yeah, well, I get my stuff. I get going. Before we get out of there, before I get completely bunked up and into the truck, a second alarm drops for a second fire. And it's also in our area, but it just happens to be like a block away from the station. So at this time, I'm 100% sure it's serious. Oh, crap. And he's mad because I've held him up at this point. I mean, he did it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we pull over to the first fire, and it's just some guy burning in a barrel. Somebody's seen flames. You know how that goes. You see any little bit of fire, you got to call the fire department and say, "Oh, my God."
But they won't call a house that's on fire.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
So we were like, "Hey, man, you all right?" He's like, "Yeah." He's all confused, and we're like, "Good, gotta go." We head over to the other fire. We still made it first on scene to that other fire, and it was an apartment fire. And we made it upstairs to see what was going on and get an assessment. About the time the second truck pulled up, and then we pulled the line and went in and knocked it down.
Yeah,
we got it out. So
the pranks did backfire sometimes.
Pranks did backfire sometimes. There was a lot of my pranking, I guess you could say, that I had done. I was kind of taught by somebody else, but we had one lieutenant. He was most easygoing guy, best guy ever, and we would call him up from one station to another, and we'd hog him. I don't know if you remember hogging. You had the little paper tube, and you'd hog him.
Yes.
And or you would call him up, and the guy that I was with at that point had a little app on his phone where he could type it in, and it would say it in some other voice. And so he would do that and put it on the phone and make it go in that other voice, and he had no idea what was going on. And
how about flipping stations?
He'd stuff weights underneath his mattress, and because we'd go in there and the lights would all be off, so he wouldn't turn the lights off, and he'd go to get in bed, and there'd be dumbbells and stuff underneath the mattress, and you just lay on it, and you're like, "Oh!" And flipping stations. There was one time I didn't do a lot of.
I didn't flip them. I had to unflip them.
Do a lot of the pranking, but there was flipping stations, and then one time I came in, and the bedroom was in the living room, and the living room was in the bedroom. I mean, this took a lot of work.
Yes.
To do all this, to move all these beds and all these recliners and everything, and we had been at Station 4, so we had been running like who knows what, and then it was maybe 3 in the morning or something, because this is when that stuff would go on, and I went to bed in the living room in my bed and just left the other room, and I was like, I'm not messing with it, not tonight.
Yeah.
Like, forget it, because if we get another call, which we will, they're just going to come back and do it again, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm going to go to bed right here, and then in the morning we'll just move it back. And
do you remember it was at Station 3 and they let the possum loose and
my
didn't
gosh.
say nothing?
yeah, you know, it was even.
It lived there for a couple days.
You know what was wilder about that? They thought they heard something. I want to say that one of the guys found the possum in where the heat and air unit was, like up the wall between there. And so they put a live trap out to catch this possum.
Oh my God.
They caught a cat.
In the
station.
Oh my God.
They caught a cat in the station. Didn't catch the possum. Caught a cat. And they're like, what the? How many things live in here?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a wild house.
it was
Oh my God.
something all the time.
I remember,
I forgot about the possum.
I can't remember what rank this guy was. He's a lieutenant now, but over at Station 2, another station where there's just 2 people, but he would fall asleep in the recliners, and they would pour water on his crotch while he was sleeping. And just a little bit, like enough to where like his pants and his underwear were wet.
Mm-hmm.
And he would get up and not say anything, thinking he'd wet himself.
Oh my gosh.
And so they did this repeatedly. I mean, like it lasted like over and
Oh my
over
gosh.
and
I didn't know
over
about this
again.
one.
Yeah. Well, it got so bad that the guy was actually, and he was embarrassed. I mean, like I think he told
Well,
one
yeah,
person,
if you
you know,
think you peed on yourself.
and that guy was like, "Hey, you need to get checked out because this could actually be something, you know." And this dude made an appointment to go to the doctor, and finally they were like, "Hey, man, we've been pouring water on your crotch while
We
you're
didn't get
sleeping." So
Oh man, so bad.
yeah, and
So
he's such a
bad.
good dude too. He's laid back, like
Yeah.
but it was like, oops. But he plays a lot of pranks too. So I mean, like if you dish
Well,
it out, you got it
If
coming.
you dish it out, you gotta take it. It was too tricky for me to keep coming up with stuff. Like I could probably do it, but at the same time, sometimes I just enjoyed my peace. I didn't want to be pranked. I didn't mind other people pranking. I'm like, if you guys want to prank, that's fine. Just try not to involve me too much. Of course, and then as you got up into the ranks, you had to really
right,
like.
right.
I don't want to know.
Maybe that's one
I
reason
don't
I
want to
didn't
know.
want to
You
promote
guys
because I
are
love the
going to
pranks.
get me in trouble, so I don't want to know. Because if I know, I got to say something.
Right, right.
And so we didn't want to go that route because I definitely was for the pranking as long as it was with good intentions and
Not malicious.
not malicious.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I was for that, but
I had at number 2
was something.
the at the number 2 fire station. There's a restroom connected to the actual fire bay, the apparatus bay, and I was standing there at the urinal, taking care of business. And you remember how high pressure that hose was there?
high pressure. Yeah, they
Uh-huh.
had a lot.
It was, I mean, I bet I hadn't even been there 6 months when it happened, but one of the drivers turned that hose on full blast. Well, that restroom was so small you couldn't get away from
You're
anything.
not getting away, no.
He soaked me. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
like I was dripping wet. And it was on a hose testing day. My first experience testing hose, and I never liked it from then on. But I came out, you know, I was laughing. I was like, whatever. At that time, a phone didn't cost, you know, $1,000,
Right, yeah.
you know. So I put my stuff in there, was letting it dry out. And this guy was the ultimate practical joker. I mean, like, he always doing stuff to people. Well, we're hose testing, and of course we're loading this hose back on the truck, and I get up there with a 5-gallon bucket of water on the hose bed, and he also liked to talk a lot. I mean, a lot. and he's not facing the truck while he's loading this hose.
Oh man.
And I dumped all 5 gallons on him. He got so pissed. I mean, livid pissed. I was faster than him.
Yeah.
So I'm outrunning him like we're doing circles. And luckily the captain at the time, he yelled at him. He's like, so and so, stop. And he stops and he looks at him and he's like, if you can dish it out, you can take it.
Yep.
And he was so pissed at me, but that captain saved me there. So
Yeah.
it was one
That
of
was
those.
good.
Yeah, it was an example of like why you probably shouldn't horseplay so much, maybe. But if you're gonna dish it out, you better be able to take it.
Yeah. So there was plenty of rules in the rules and regs and stuff about horseplay too, and
Yeah.
you were more likely to get in trouble for breaking that rule than you were for breaking any other rule.
Yeah.
Like, it was so crazy.
I remember little Frankie, known as Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. She was on like a huge fitness kick at the time. You remember when she was just a solid little muscle ball.
Yep.
But we were up there at the main station for class or something or whatever, and me and her, we were wrestling around on the bay, in the bay, and I mean we weren't on the ground or anything. We're just kind of like pushing against each other, and
Oh, you're talking about the captain. I
yeah,
know
the
this one.
captain
Yeah.
come out there and he lost his mind. Different captain. He
Yeah.
lost his mind. No, we can't do that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, and we
'Cause
quit.
because she was a female.
Yeah, we quit immediately, but it was 100% because she was a female. Because when we would be
Yeah.
wrestling out there with dudes, not an issue, but because it
Yeah.
was her, it was hilarious. Because I was like, well, damn, she can hold her own more than
Yeah,
most of the
probably,
dudes
She
here.
probably could have took half those guys easily.
Yeah,
and then
yeah. I
the
mean,
other
hell,
half
she was more of a
still
dude
would've
than
took
most
them.
of us. You know, it's like
Right.
so. She.
She had plenty of mouth and
Oh yeah,
attitude.
her mouth was as dirty as anybody else's. Like that
She
girl.
definitely didn't let anybody get one up on her.
Uh-uh. No, she dished out as much as she took.
I wouldn't say
for
she
sure.
ever had to fight hard for that stuff because she was definitely, she could hold her own.
Yeah.
She'd been in the fire service long enough
Right.
that she knew
Well,
how to handle it.
her first house fire was my first house fire. She was on at Krebs, and I was on here, and we ended up on our first house fire together on the second story of a house in a closet. We had no idea how to fight fire. There, no way either one of us should have probably been in there fighting this
Right.
fire. But we're in a closet shooting through an opening into a an add-on roof through the closet.
Oh,
I mean, it was
those.
horrible, but I'll always remember that was the first fire she had and the first fire I had. Like,
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
That is crazy.
But okay, so why do you get out of the fire service? Like your story's kind of like mine.
The best way is to say kind of a forced play. Like,
Uh-huh.
I ended up with a injury.
Uh huh.
It was not the first injury, not the typical injury. We had already gone through the process so long that we were at a point where it was time to do something with me. I was becoming a liability,
Right.
and mentally and just knowing myself, I knew that it was not good for my team,
Yeah.
not good for me. It was going to be the toughest thing I think I'd done to that point was to make that decision because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready
Yeah.
the first time I had the injury. I definitely wasn't ready the second time. I still felt like there was more for me. This was not supposed to be the end. It was not supposed to be how it happened. I still had years left to go. I still had more that I wanted to accomplish, and my body just said, I don't think so, man.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I feel relief as far as if I am injured now, I'm in a different situation. So I feel great for the most part, but
Right.
Firefighting and EMS is just a job that is difficult, and without doing it, most people don't realize just how difficult it is. And there's a lot of if I can lift with good form like I do in a gym,
Right.
absolutely I can do that stuff. But if I can't, which is your typical call,
Yeah.
then I've compromised myself. And then if I put myself into that situation in an area where people are relying on me, or I'm relying on them, and then I've just become a part of the problem, then I've done nothing for anybody but caused a bigger problem. So
Yep.
you have to realize sometimes when it's time to go, when it's time to get out, whether you want to admit that or not. Sometimes it's time to go.
I had a brother firefighter in Gilbert, Arizona. I was talking to him because I was struggling. I mean, I would, because you do feel like you're like, damn, I got plenty more to give.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty more to give. And he was like, brother, he said, you're like bread, and he said you don't want to be stale bread. He said don't sit there and take up a spot for somebody that is healthy, can actually do the job, and they're not a liability. Because nobody wants to consider themselves a liability. That was mentally, that was the hardest thing for me, because I was like, son, like, damn, like, and especially when your heart's in it, you're like, you're not training just to train, you're training to get better, and my doctor told me when it came to the end, he basically said, man, he said, at this point, it's about having more good days than bad days. He was like, if
that future quality of life.
Yeah, he said, if you want to speed it up, he said, this is how you're going to do it. He said, but right now, like, you can probably have more good days than bad days. He said, but
well, there's no guarantee on what you're going to get into in the service, because that first I had a fusion in 2017. I had a L5S1 fusion. I have hardware. I have a plastic spacer for a disc. Basically, that just set a timer for the next fusion. The back is several bones with discs in between them, and there's just a link. When you fuse these two, it just puts more pressure on the one above or below. So since I'm at the lowest, it's just going to go up. And this particular time, I feel like there could have been something else done besides a fusion. I didn't want to, and this was supposed to last, or not supposed to last. They said typically should last about 10 years, but I had a different scenario than most people. I was a firefighter. It only lasted about 6, but I don't feel like we were there to the point where we needed another fusion. The first time, I understood why I needed the fusion.
When I saw your X-ray the first time, I was like, I didn't know how you weren't paralyzed. I've never seen vertebrae shifted like that before.
I didn't want a surgery. Even then, I didn't want a surgery. I just was totally against it. But I realized that I had no quality of life. I couldn't walk around. I was experiencing drop foot. I had plenty of nerve pain issues, and nerve pain is something that has been probably the biggest struggle. Just the numbness and sensation in your foot and leg and the burning. But it's also something that you just kind of learn to deal with. But at the same time, it's that situation of taking up a spot at work. And unlike what the city and admin want you to believe, if you're on injury, you're screwing over your other guys. You're not, just because they can't see what's going on with you. Other than a limp, which is pretty small, you can't really tell that there's much going on with me. I still do most of the. I still get around better than a lot of people who are not firefighters. But that doesn't mean that I'm not struggling. I'm not in pain. They don't see my bad days. They don't see all that. But I'm not taking up any position from anybody that shouldn't have already been available. We're allowed X amount of people off, and that stigma right there, I think, aggravated me the most to actually hear captains say to me, or not, maybe not necessarily to me, but to a group, that if you can't be on the line, you're worthless to me. That just killed me in the fire service. We were supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be a brotherhood.
Right.
Hey, how can I help to get you better, to get you back here? Not,
Yeah.
oh, you're worthless. I don't want to see you. I mean,
it definitely, it was crazy. Like, I felt like if you went on workers' comp, you're basically just considered trash. And it didn't matter what you went on workers'
it didn't
comp
matter
for.
what you went on. You were faking.
Yeah, yeah.
And that
That's
was
not real. I'm like, well, bitch, it's real
that
when
was-
I can't get out of bed.
Well, heaven forbid any of those people ever get older and still try to do
Yeah.
a strenuous job. I hope nobody gets hurt. I really do.
Right.
Because that's not the plan. That's not the intention. That's not the goal. But as you get older, it's going to happen. And it's undoubtedly going to be at an inopportune time, and you might be doing something silly just because you hurt your back doing the dishes, which I did not. But that doesn't mean that that's where you hurt your back.
Right.
You probably hurt your back somewhere else.
Right. Well, I I know in EMS in general, I know there's a bunch of firefighters that hurt their back for sure. But like, I think one thing for us is like, we run that EMS, that bus. I mean, we're really, where we were at, we were really an ambulance service
Oh yeah.
that dabbled in fire.
Dabbled.
And unfortunately, we, as an EMS service, we should have had top-notch equipment. But like, you remember,
We also should have been able
the
to do everything
H-frame
a basic
cots?
could do. That was the
Yeah.
bottom of the rung, man. The basic.
well, it was just, I feel like the cots, when I got hurt, that doctor, he laughed at me at the Spine Institute. He laughed at me because he was like, or I won't say he laughed at me. I'll say he laughed because he was like, well, how did you hurt your back lifting a patient? And I was like, well, what do you mean? How did I hurt it lifting a patient? He was like, well, you just got to push a button. And I was like, not the department I'm at, bro. We're
Yeah.
lifting with our legs and our back. Like,
Yeah, I had to explain that to my surgeon too. The same
so
thing. He was like, "Wait, you don't have power cots?"
yeah, and that's the new guys. Like, I am thankful that the new guys there, because there's some good dudes there now. Some youngsters. There's some good youngsters.
Absolutely, there's a lot of great
And
potential.
they do have power cots now. Are they 10 years behind on power cots? Yeah, because they should have the power cots that
But
reach
do they have
out.
a power loader?
Right, they need a
They
power
don't.
loader, and that'll save the backs even more. I almost hurt Corey Vaughn, and almost shish kebabbed him with a roof hook, and he had to come up there and get me off that damn ladder because I couldn't.
That was the house on 9th. Yeah, I remember that.
It messed me
'Cause-
up, man. Because
right before you got hurt, I remember looking up there as a lieutenant and saying, "Why is he on the ladder?" Because there was plenty of available guys that should have been on the ladder, and that's where the training fell through. And I was on callback. It wasn't even
that was I called back too.
It wasn't even my scene. So
Yeah.
But looking.
That's why I was on the
at
ladder,
that.
'cause
But
I
by the
was-
time I
yeah.
noticed you were up there, it was like, why is he up there? Like he should not be up there. There should be one of these lower ranked guys. And so somebody else should have made that call. If they would have seen it, I don't know
yeah.
who was there to see it, but
Yeah.
if they would have seen it, they should have made the call. And maybe you would have had another year or two. But
Man,
either way, I don't know.
God, well, that day if I would have hurt him, I couldn't have lived with myself because.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Damn,
But,
who am I going to go and tell his wife? Well, I'm really sorry that I was selfish and.
but that's part of where I was talking about. Well, you have to realize sometimes
Yeah.
it's time. Like
Yeah.
I'm maybe not a liability right this second,
Right.
but I am a future liability.
I wasn't a
and it
liability
could
for
come
3
with
years.
and it could come with an injury to somebody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I can't hurt somebody else because
there's
I'm selfish.
There's a lot of people who. Oh, I shouldn't say a lot. There's a few people in the department, not just this department, several departments, that need to go. They're literally taking up a spot.
Yeah.
They are, and just because you're a captain doesn't mean that gives you a ticket to be out of shape. You need
Yeah.
to be able to work, and especially on a smaller department, like there's times where you're going to be needed,
Uh-huh.
and with EMS the way it's run out of this city, it's not uncommon to be status zero. Status zero means you have 3 ambulances, 4 stations, 2 people at each station. You run 3 ambulances out. That leaves you 2 people to respond to any fire, commercial, residential, apartment buildings, like nursing homes, whatever. That's not enough resources to actually take care of squat. And I feel like they are fine with saying, well, we'll just fight it defensively.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, but guess what? You need a ladder truck for your apartment building. Where's your ladder truck? Oh, it's sitting there at an empty station because that crew's at a hospital and they just got to the hospital, so they can't get away
Yeah.
to get over there.
Yeah.
You don't have time to run over and get it. If you're at station 1, you're already 7 to 12 minutes behind,
Yeah.
depending on which
Where-
part of
where
the
it's
town
at,
it's
yeah.
at. Like, it's just the whole process is completely set up for failure. And the hard part was you just felt bound by it. You were not allowed to talk to city council. You couldn't get enough rally behind the citizens to even understand what was going on. Most of them didn't even realize that we had an ambulance service. The second
Yeah.
half of them didn't even, they don't understand what you're talking about.
Mhm.
It's like, until you don't show up at their house, or they're like, why is there only one truck? How come they don't have water going yet?
Why'd one person show up with the truck?
To watch the videos that I've seen, the very few videos that I have seen, it's just an outright embarrassment and makes you want to crawl into a hole and say, I was not a part of this. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, you are a part of this, and
Yeah.
and it has happened in scenes that you're on. And time moves a little different whenever you're on one side of it versus the other, but at the same time, there's still no excuse for not having water flowing within 4 minutes,
Yeah.
or no searching at all, like barely even getting a 360 done.
Yeah. I don't want it to sound like I'm not bashing. I know you're not bashing the
No, I
actual
just wanna
guys
see
at the
better.
department, because like I'm very proud of like the stuff that I did while I was there. I mean, like you said earlier, like I tried to make a difference. I tried to the best of my abilities to be the best that I could doing it.
At the end of the day,
And there's
that's about all
guys
we
that
can.
are there that are doing that right now. That like I mean they're
They're limited.
Yeah,
but they are doing what they can.
yeah. It's kind of a bad situation, man. And I hope the best for them. I hope things change. It's crazy because the public thinks that when they see a fire truck, that thing's full of guys. Well, no, it's got one dude in it. Look real close. There's probably a driver in there.
How there was not an outrage at that commercial building with the apartments on top on Main Street
Yeah,
is absolutely because the public doesn't know.
yeah,
They don't understand that one person in a fire truck and then an ambulance showing up with guys who aren't ready to fight fire. They're
Right.
still in their Class Bs.
no fault of their own. I mean,
No fault of their own at all. But that is where the citizens need to stand up and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, am I in danger if
Uh-huh.
we were to have a fire right now, especially if you live in an apartment building, upstairs at a house, or you're elderly and can't get out very easily? If I was to have a fire, how bad would this be? Like,
Yeah.
could they save my house? Because I don't have much and I can't afford much.
Right.
Can they effectively do the job that I need done? And I don't even want to think about what the answer is
Right.
on that.
All I can say is get a smoke detector so you can
100%.
you can get the cavalry on the way as fast as they can, because the guys that I worked with and the guys there now, like, I mean, believe me, they're coming as fast as they can come, but there's limits to what they can do. It's just that.
There is that. There is that. We get excited when there is a fire because there are fewer fires, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But when we would get a fire, we would try to up it. Like, it didn't matter if it was just possibly seeing some smoke or whatever. We would try. Well, if you were with a good team, you wanted to beat the person to their area.
Yeah.
But if you weren't with a good team, you still had hard chargers that wanted to go and they wanted to get something done. Like, you may have to give them a little more guidance, but they'd still do it.
Yeah.
And two, we were on a fire. We weren't on an ambulance call. We were on a fire. So let's go.
And then there's policies that the guys have to go against. I know for a fact, like, guys showing up with a driver and a firefighter, like, they're not even allowed to. The fire can be in the living room, and they're not allowed to make entry into the structure to put that fire out until an officer shows up on scene. And that officer may have only been promoted for a month. Does he really know more than this driver? The driver may have been a driver for 10 years.
Right.
And you've got a guy that may have possibly skipped directly from firefighter to lieutenant due to seniority points.
And there was no good succession plan. There was not a lot of fire behavior training involved. There was none of that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that we can have a fire truck show up and actually not be allowed to put the fire out by making entry through that front door or the back door because we don't have a certain individual on scene. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's ridiculous. And people out there that are wondering, check out YouTube. Google the city, type in fire response, and just see how many times you see trucks showing up with one or two people getting off of that. So, but off that subject,
Going to be pretty rare. I know one of the guys that was actually a target for the department, and he actually ended up getting in trouble for that. He made entry on a simple room and contents, and he ended up being involved in a situation that I thought was going to end up getting him into some very serious trouble, and it still kept coming up, causing him some issues down the road.
Yeah.
And
after it was supposed to be squashed.
All because, and I believe that was part of or right when they implemented that, where they had to have a lieutenant there.
That's why they implemented it.
So put that guy at the busiest station. Don't give him any extra power. So occasionally he has another person where he can stay with the fire truck, but then he doesn't. So now you've moved your lieutenant from the city, the central part of the city, out to the outside on a highway where he's got much longer to get anywhere in this town. And so that just led to another whole disaster. You get fires, and of course you're not going to have a lieutenant there. He's at the ER. He's running the busiest ambulance in town.
Yeah, he's at the ER, and we catch a fire in Northtown. Well, you're going to have a firefighter and a driver show up, and now it's
you're
exterior firefighting. Hit it hard from the yard, baby. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways,
there's ways to confirm how to go in.
Off of that fire stuff, I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I do miss it. I definitely do miss it.
Absolutely.
But, so what are you doing now, bro? Like, you've been gone for 2 years now, a year? How long you been gone now?
Well, so I was on injury the last year, basically, almost a year, and then I've only actually officially been retired for 6 months. 7 months. And
damn, that's short. Okay.
I know it's not as long as it seemed, but so I've only been retired about that long, and I really have just kind of enjoyed catching up. And when I say catching up, I mean like catching up with myself, catching up with my body, catching up with my rehab.
Have you noticed
working on myself?
Your back being better since you're not there?
My back is much better since I'm not there. I'm not pain free by no means.
Right.
I still have issues with the nerve damage, which that's permanent. I have the tingling in the feet, and sometimes it'll be worse than others. But all in all, I'm not lifting like I was before.
Yeah.
I was lifting 75 to 200 pounds
Proper.
every third day, up to 10 times a day.
Yeah.
Like
from out behind the toilet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And so Now I've been conditioning myself and
Uh-huh.
taking care of myself, stretching in the gym, doing stuff like that, and I feel so much better. Now I know whenever I get to doing certain jobs or moving around, I can tell I've
Yeah.
overdone it, and I know, hey,
Yeah.
whoa, you better slow down. But for the most part, I would say I feel better than I did
Yeah.
before I was injured.
Yeah.
And so, but I know also that could happen to change at any time.
Right.
If I lift the wrong way or get too confident and lift too much, I know that that's going to
Mm-hmm.
be an issue. If I have to stoop over for too long, that can be a problem.
Yeah.
I know how to take care of that and go forward um, with taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Other than that, I did start a small business running a laser. I'm looking to expand to add another laser to add more to what I can do. But that's still just kind of a side
Yeah.
hustle, side job, side. It's in the process. It's still
Right.
new. It's in its infancy. It's coming around. Hopefully, I can get some more traction and
What's the name of the
do
business?
some more stuff. That one's Red Hot Lasers.
Red Hot
And
Lasers.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Red Hot Lasers, red dot hot dot lasers on Instagram. Working on a website. That stuff's challenging. It's marketing. That's a big thing. Never had to do. Done a lot of stuff. Haven't done a lot of marketing.
Right.
You know, learning about how to do the ads and different things. That's all different. If you want me to do the work, I'm great. I can do the work, but getting the product out there to where it can be known. There's a lot of people who don't know. Even people I use for the business, they still don't know exactly what all I can do. And to be
Right.
honest, I probably don't even know exactly what
Hell,
all
I
I
don't
can
know
do
what you can
because
do, and I've
I
known
have
you've been doing it.
I've done so much stuff: keychains, wallets, tumblers, coasters. I've done it on slate, done glass, done acrylic.
Did this sign
Did the
right
sign.
here?
I've done
Did the cup?
did the cups. Yeah, I've done so
He
many.
knocks it out of the park. If you
so
guys are
many
looking,
things.
get a hold of him.
Yeah, and I try to be competitive with pricing as far as compared to like the Etsy shops. Also, I'm local. Anything custom, that's the big thing. Customizing and personalization, it's there. I can do it. So it's nice to be able to work locally with somebody who can do 1 or 100 of an item and do the personalization.
And something that puts you apart from other people is like your ability to actually paint. Like you're actually like, I mean, before you even started, you auto bodying and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
had an
that.
automotive painting background, custom painting, airbrushing, done paint on pinstriping, different things like that. So yeah, I have a little bit of knowledge with the automotive side and painting, and it translates over pretty well to other substrates, and
Yeah.
it's worked out pretty good, and it's something I enjoy. So if you enjoy it, you know, you're gonna obviously try to do, and I always try to do the best that I can. And
That's what I was about to say. Like, I
I'm
haven't seen
very
anything
particular.
subpar
Yeah,
that you
I'm very
put out.
particular
Like,
because your
it-
name's associated with that, and you don't want trash out there.
Right.
If you put trash out, you become a trash name. So I don't want that. I'll
Right.
do what I can to do a good job, make it right, and go from there.
yeah. It's good stuff. Everything I've seen I've been amazed by some of the stuff you've done too. And
I've been amazed. At
your
some of the
mind
stuff.
is so much more creative than mine. Like some of the small intricate stuff you've done, I'm like, what the hell? Like I never would have thought of that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a black and white block letter kind of person.
Oh, no, it's
and
a
I wish I
curse.
wasn't.
It's a curse. The worst part is that I just can't create as fast as my mind can see it, and like I can bring it up in my head so much faster than I can get it onto the computer or draw it. There's times where I just have to write down stuff and come back to it, or I'll snap pictures and I'll put notes with it, and I'll have to come back to it, like
Yeah.
pick it right back up. But it just sometimes comes in too fast before I can get it out.
It's crazy. Man, I've been blown away. Anything you want to cover?
There's nothing that I can think of right offhand.
We for those of you out there listening, we had an agreement. Chris said he would come on the podcast with the agreement that he would get to interview me. So that'll be coming up probably pretty quick. I'm interested because he also thinks outside the box on his questions too.
Oh
so,
yeah, I'm interested in that one. It'll be a good one. Everybody's ready for it.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I am. So last question. What would you tell 19-year-old Chris right now? If he was sitting here, what would you tell 19-year-old Chris about life in general, the fire service, anything?
That's a tough one. Life in general, I would say go for it. The only thing holding you back is being yourself. Do what you want to pursue. Go for that. The rest will come. Work on finances. The stuff that they don't teach you in school. They don't teach you about how to invest money, how to retire early, or not retire early necessarily, but retire to where you're not living paycheck to paycheck wearing 30-year-old clothes. Take care of that stuff, and definitely take care of your body.
God,
You're gonna need that. Like 19-year-old me was way harder on myself than should have been. Did a lot of stuff. This was before the generation of wanting to just sit inside and watch TV. There was nothing on TV, certain times and reruns. So
black and white.
Yeah, we were out ripping it up, digging holes, jumping out of trees, jumping off buildings, skateboarding, dirt bikes, bicycles, you name it. So
I wonder if there's going to be a trade-off between the youngsters today, between my body's trash now, but like cardio-wise, you can't really tell by looking at me at this point, but cardio-wise, like I was at the cardiologist today, he said I'm good to go. I'm wondering if the ones coming up today, their body might last for a long time because they're not really wearing and tearing on it, but I'm wondering how that heart is going to hold up on them. Chilling inside all the time.
That's good to know. I'll bet you there'll be less skin cancer.
Yeah, I think there will be a trend.
Yeah, that is one thing. I mean, obviously you're going to have some stuff as you age, but I don't know. I think we all could have been a little easier on ourselves, and maybe we wouldn't have as much mobility issues as we get older.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that comes with a lot of broken bones and concussions that you just don't want when you're older.
Mm-hmm. Concussions are not wonderful.
No. Other than that, just know your worth. If you feel like you're not making a difference and can't make a change, and you have more to give, then maybe it's better suited somewhere else.
Yeah.
So take care of that. Don't be stuck. That's the worst part. Don't be stuck.
Yeah.
Like, you can get stuck. Don't do it. I can remember times where I felt like I had to stay somewhere just because I needed the money.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the part about not taking care of the money side of it. If you take care of the money side of it at a younger age, not only do you benefit from compound interest, but you can also have emergency funds and different things like that can take care of you whenever you have situations arise. I never took any care of that, none of that. I just whatever came in went out, and we had a good time.
I didn't know I was going to last this long.
And when it come time to needing something to do, I was stuck because of money. Like, I can't leave this job. I gotta have the money.
Yeah.
I can't go there. I gotta have the money. Like, there was always something to do, and it always had to do with money. But if I could have, and looking back, I didn't make that much money when I was younger. But if I could have just squirreled a little bit of it back, it could have been a huge difference whenever I got here. Because let's also be honest, at 19, I didn't know that I was going to be my age now.
Yeah.
And so,
an old guy.
Yeah, you didn't think about that.
Hell no.
What's all this gray?
I'm going to be 19 and 21 forever.
Yeah. At least no more than 23.
Yeah.
That was the old song.
Well, brother, I appreciate you coming in for sure. It's been a good time. I am terrified to actually
Have a
answer
good
the
day.
questions for you. But
Oh, they won't be that bad. It'll be easy. But it's a lot different when you're sitting on the other side, I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah, it'll be
It
interesting.
was nerve wracking. I had a whole thing planned, and I was like, oh, I'm going to say this. I'm going to talk about that, and then of course the day goes on. You don't get a lot of time to prepare. You don't always know when you're going to come in to interview, and then
Yeah, and then you get here and there's two other brothers
Yeah.
here. Like I was like,
yeah, they love to mess with you.
yeah.
So,
I think
was
we
just-
need to get that hooked
Ah.
up where we get all four of us at the table at the same time.
Nobody's going to want to hear that because there's just going to be a
it'll-
bunch of laughing and
Yeah, yeah,
going on.
it'll be crazy.
It'll be great though, for us.
I mean, hey, that's
It'd
what
be
counts,
great.
man. Well, thank you. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh hell yeah, it's fun, man. It's
It is.
fun.
It's good.
It's a good way to get that story out there for everybody.
It is.
Guys, thanks for watching again. Be episode 10, Sticks and Stones Unfiltered. This one was with Chris Williams. If there's somebody you want to see on here, let us know. Make sure and like and subscribe if you get the opportunity. And have a good day.